Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Zane Talks LFC on Red Sky Pods. So it seems like every time my show is live, something controversial happens. So the Sunday before my first show, there was this whole ESL talk, and everyone was just losing their minds. This time, again on a Sunday, we have this huge Manchester United protest, which made the Liverpool Manchester United game to be postponed. So, the main topic of this show will be, of course, what happened in Manchester. And today with me, I have Matt from the Copish. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, and thank you for having me on as a guest. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, anytime. And we have James here as well. How are you doing?
Hi, Zane. Nice to meet you. And yeah, thanks for having me. I'm good, thank you.
No problem. And we have Ian from Red Sky Pods as well.
Hello there.
How's it going, mate?
Go on.
You're right, mate.
So let's start. So maybe I'll start with you, Matt. Do you support the protesters and what they were doing on Sunday?
No, and I'll tell you why. There's a difference between a protest and there's a difference between being a hooligan. Now, maybe the intention was a protest, right? That was the intention. The intention was to go and protest, a bit like what Arsenal did, a bit like what Chelsea did, right? The difference is, though, this got violent. This got, I think it was a security guard or somebody left with stitches. Armed police had to get involved. People were filming themselves, jumping into the goal, stealing corner flags. It just got out of hand. And I think this is the problem. There probably was only a minority doing that. But again, it's the message that it sends. There's a way how to protest. Protesting, in my opinion, is going down to the ground, voicing your opinion. But you don't have to break into the ground. Like, you've broken into a ground. Like, that's not what protesting is about, in my opinion. You can do that from being outside the ground, because therefore you're putting people's safety at risk again. And hence why the game got called off, all because people went too far. And that's one thing I will say. If this was Liverpool Football Club, could you imagine what they will be saying about us? They're trying to, some people are still trying to say it was peaceful. In my opinion, it wasn't peaceful, or at least it didn't end that way. And I can only look at it and think, you know what? You got to call a spade a spade. And for me, it was the wrong way to go about things.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I cannot imagine what would have happened if it was Liverpool. I think already how many points would be deducted, huge fines. I don't know. It's just something about us which makes everyone hate us. I don't know, but
yeah,
it is. I totally agree. Because Chelsea and Arsenal showed that you can protest in an okay way. You don't have to break stuff. You don't have to be a hooligan. And it was putting people's lives at risk. Like, they were throwing beer bottles and everything at the pundits, and that's just horrible. And for Neville and Carragher to go and say it was peaceful, they kept saying it was peaceful. I found it really bad. James, what are your thoughts?
I think Matt's right. I think I agree with most of that. Everything you guys said, but I think that they did have a reason to be there, and I think that the only way to make change is to protest. That's the only thing you can do. Otherwise, things will just stay the same. So I think that they were right with with the purpose with why they were there. They clearly meant well, because the Glazers have been there 16 years and they haven't changed the infrastructure. They haven't updated the stadium, the training facilities, and people are frustrated by that. But I think that there are a minority that have given the whole thing a bad name amongst the media, which is a shame, really, because I think in these times that people are angry, people are frustrated. So
yeah, and Ian, I think that maybe the message could have been delivered differently, because, for example, Spirit of Shankly, they secured a face-to-face meeting with our CEO to voice their problems. So would you prefer doing it how, for example, Liverpool did, speaking with the board directly, or have these protests?
Well, you know what? I'm not the biggest FSG fan, and when ESL came up 2 weeks ago, I disliked them even more. But what you've got to remember is how differently FSG has responded to what what the fans and the players and the manager have said compared to Glazers. What the Glazers have done, the Glazers have pretty much gave United nothing. They've not responded. They've not come out. They've not apologised. They basically just thought if you ignore this problem, it will go away. And the problem with football is if you ignore problems, they never ever go away. What tends to happen is they get worse because things tend to. It's a pressure cooker. That's what football is, and the way you're feeling, you keep it inside. And what's happened on Sunday is the cork's popped off the bottle and everything's just gone west. I think what we need to look at Gary Neville's role in this. I think Gary Neville, if he wanted to instigate protests, he should have arranged them. He should have gone and had meetings with people, and he should have done things properly. What he shouldn't have done was sat on a TV screen, totally protected, with nobody there in front of him, and incited what he incited on Sunday. Now, Sunday, I fully believe that what was meant to happen on Sunday was a peaceful protest. I fully believe all intentions were good. But like with anything, this piggyback has still been people who have just gone, oh, what's going on there? I might get involved in that. I might go. There was people there with shopping bags. Well, why do you turn up to a protest with shopping bags? I'm sorry. They weren't there to protest. They seen something they wanted to jump into and get involved in and have a crazy Sunday afternoon. And I think United, more than any of them, because of the Glazers and what have you, I think they've got every right to protest, but there's a way to do it. Liverpool have been protesting for years. We protested over FSG, over Hicks and Gillette. We protested over ticket prices, but we did it in a sensible way. What we've got to be careful of is not tarring every Manchester United supporter with the same brush, because we've felt that in the past. Yeah. As Liverpool fans, a minority have got us tarred with the same brush, and we don't want to fall into the same things as other people do. So I do think the incentives of the protests were good. I think they got completely out of hand. What I find really disappointing today is the blackout on social media is over, and we've heard nothing from Gary Neville on social media about the protests. He's not come out condemning them. He's not come out saying, yeah, they were good. The only thing he's tweeted today is a link to a YouTube video that he's put up where he's interviewing Scudamore, which right now we don't want to hear from Gary Neville. We want to say, if he comes out and say, listen, I apologise, things got out of hand, this isn't what I wanted, fair play to him. But his silence is absolutely deafening, which tells me he's totally behind what happened on Sunday. And whether it be the FA or Sky, somebody needs to have a word with Gary Neville and say, listen, you need to calm down a bit.
Roy Keane's behind it as well. I think he's behind it as well.
Yeah, to be fair, the only person that even, I think, spoke out, like, honestly, I think it was Graham Souness.
Yeah.
He was the one that was like, listen, like, it's like we're beating around the bush here, like, what's really happening? Because Graham Souness actually told some of the story with some of the things that happened to them. And you're right, Ian, because the intentions were to have a protest, a peaceful protest, but we can't also ignore the fact of what happened. And that's the fact of, obviously, some people may have got hurt, and there was things that shouldn't have happened that actually happened. And it's a shame because, as you said, like, Man United, obviously they're a massive club and they've got their own issues with their fans. And as you said, sometimes you have to do something to a degree, a little bit radical, so to speak, but you can't cross that line even when I say that, though, because obviously a protest, in my opinion, is to a degree radical enough because you're going to the ground, you're speaking, you're voicing your opinion, they're going to hear you. Like, there's no way they won't hear you, because we live in a world where social media is literally everything. So they're going to see that. But I think for you to overstep the mark and, as I said, go into the ground and, you know, kick the ball into the goal, steal the corner flag, and then there was even reports that they weren't allowing the team bus, I think, to get past or something like that. And that's really just like, that's not really protesting now. You've fully gone past it. So
yeah, and for some of the supporters, I don't know what their intentions were, because they went to the Manchester United hotel and they even wanted to get in. So you never know, they might be a United fan, they might be some, I don't know, psycho or someone. So it's just a really crazy situation. So talking about this, do you think it was right that the game was postponed, James?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there was no way it could have gone ahead in those circumstances. But I think that Liverpool should be given the 3 points because that's in the FA rulebook. If you can't control your fans, which Man United couldn't, and it's not our fault, obviously, as a Liverpool as a club for Liverpool Football Club, it's not their fault. They should be awarded the 3 points.
Yeah, but I guess we're not gonna be pursuing that. But then at the same time, I don't know when we're gonna play because Manchester United are 99% they are already in Europa final. So I have no idea, and I don't want us to play, for example, 2 games in 2 days or something, or 3 days.
I think what they'll do is, they're going to make it on the FA Cup day to try and recoup the money. All the money that they lost yesterday, they're going to put it on the FA Cup final day. That's what I think they're going to do.
It's a good shot. It's a good shot. It's a tough one. Sorry, no, I was just going to say, it's a tough one because, as you said, the schedule's so packed now. I think the season finishes in about 4 weeks now, maybe, is it? Maybe even less than that, I'm not too sure. And I think you're right, though, James. I think it was right to be called off because so much had happened. And again, it's about player safety that comes first. So there's nothing that you can really do. And I agree with you again. I said this the other day. We should get the 3 points because it had nothing to do with us. That's to do with Man United. And dare I say it, I would even say it's unfair. I mean, how else do you punish Man United? Do you think they should get a fine? This is me asking a question here. Do you think they should get a fine? Do you think they should get points deducted? This is me asking questions to all you guys now, actually. What do you lot think should happen?
Well, I'm not sure because when it was the European Super League talk, I felt it was unfair for points to be deducted because that hurts the team and the players the most. And then if I would go and say Manchester United should get they just give the points to Liverpool. Again, it's a bit hypocritical. But in this situation where there is no opportunity almost to play the game, I don't see anything else happening because you can not just go and, for example, give a draw because for us it will be really, really bad. So
yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't even think they're gonna be punished, to be fair. I don't see it happening, but of course the best for us would be to get 3 points, but then for the rest of the season and 2 seasons ahead, we're going to be hearing if, for example, we make top 4. Oh, you made top 4 only because you got those 3 points. But
yeah. Facts.
What do you think? What could be the penalty for Man United?
I'd make them play the day before the next game. I'd make them put the kids out against us. That's what I'd do. Like we had to I'd be quite happy playing Manchester United under 18s, to be fair.
Remember what happened with Aston Villa? Like we couldn't crank there.
Yeah.
But you know what?
5-0.
You know what, though, Anna? You're talking about being hypocritical and stuff like that. And when we were talking about Liverpool being punished for involvement in ESL and stuff like that. And when people said that, a lot of it wasn't just the managers and the players, it was the fans. It was the fans who were involved and the fans who were being punished. This was the Manchester United fans. They got involved in this. Manchester United as a club couldn't control it. They couldn't control it. I don't care what anybody says. As many people as are there now, as many people that were at that protest now, if they wanted to keep them out, they could have kept them out. Somebody along the line, a Man United fan, is a steward in there, or there's a couple of stewards in there that have gone, yeah, come on, Gwen.
Yeah, and there even was a picture of him just letting them in. But at the same time, I thought everyone knew that the protest was happening. Like everyone in the Man United community knew about it. No one spoke out. Neville, that would be like the right time to break your social media boycott, I think. And no police was there. No one was there. They weren't prepared. Maybe they thought that maybe 100 people, 200 will show up. But I think that may be a reason why I think that they should give the 3 points to us because they knew it was happening and they weren't ready and their security wasn't ready. So maybe it has to happen like that because it is their fans' fault, but then our fans get blamed for many, many things as well. So probably 3 points is the best solution. What do you think, James?
Can I just jump in there? I think that there's such a negative stigma against Liverpool and Liverpool fans, and it really grinds my gears actually, because it's been going on for a number of years where other fans take pride and joy in us not winning the title, and the longer the decades go on and stuff, and it's like they seem to have they seem to like call Liverpool fans all kinds of names then, but when it's Man United fans or it's Chelsea or someone else doing it, no one says anything and the media doesn't say anything.
True, I completely agree, and I just wanted to go back a bit to Neville and Jamie Carragher because I was a bit shocked today. I saw some videos of like Manchester United fans calling them names and calling Graham Souness names, and it was just so weird that they use like the C word and everything to Jamie. Gary was just shaking hands with everyone who just called his mate something that's really nice, and then Jamie went on TV and kind of defended them. And he saw it happening. He saw people being obstructive and stuff, and he just went and said they're doing the right thing. He wrote an article in Telegraph saying they had every right to do so. What do you think about that, Matt?
For me, I think sometimes Gary Neville, as a presenter, I think he's normally spot on with a lot of things that he says. But sometimes when it comes to Man United, in my opinion, he's too involved and he doesn't see the whole picture. And that's why I feel like how he was talking the other day, because you can't defend what happened, in my opinion. I can understand him trying to say it was supposed to be peaceful, but it wasn't peaceful at the end of the day. It wasn't. And then for you to try and condone it and say it's okay. And then obviously we see pictures, as you said, like I think there's even footage of him like shaking hands, like walking down. And it's just like, I don't know, because for me as well, like people might not like this, but I think Gary Neville, he is very full of himself. And to a degree, he has a right to be, because he is like a big name in football, not just as a player now, but as a pundit as well. And I think he knows his name carries a lot of weight in what he's saying. But sometimes I feel like, Gary, you've got to take a step back. And here's the thing. When we was talking about the European Super League, did you see how heavily he was criticising Liverpool, as if to say we was the only team that was in this ESL? I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, hold on, Gary, like, You're not talking about Man United. All you keep talking about is FSG and Liverpool, and you haven't once spoken about Man United. And that's why when I say, as good as he is, sometimes his Man United like bias takes over and he can't help it. And that for me is a bad sign sometimes, because that shouldn't happen, because then you start talking reckless, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will stay.
Oh,
How are you?
I'm good. You?
Yeah, not bad. We're in heated discussions about Gary Neville right now.
Oh, what a disgraceful man that is.
Yeah.
I think I agree totally, and I don't also enjoy when he comments with Manchester United. I think together with I forgot what was his name. Our favorite commentator,
Martin Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler. Together with Tyler, when I hear it, I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah. But yeah, I totally agree. I think, and even in the when he was giving interviews on Sunday, he found a way how to put Liverpool and FSG in the whole conversation when it had nothing to do with us. We only had the game, but he found a way how to say FSG had done this in the past. So I totally agree. Ian.
Sorry, can I just jump in here about talking about Gary Neville? Gary Neville for 2 weeks has gone on banging on about greed and how football has changed and how there's too much money in it. His team, Salford, are basically the Manchester City of the league, of the lower leagues. He is piling money into them, paying players way above what they're worth. And he doesn't seem to bat an eyelid on it. Like I said before, he's been winding people up for 2 weeks. He's been instigating this for 2 weeks. If Steven Gerrard was to go on TV for 2 weeks and wind all our fans up to a point where we were ready to explode, something similar could happen. Somebody needs to have a word with Gary Neville and say, listen, you need to pack it in now. You need to wind it in a little bit. Because he's basically been going on live TV, giving fighting talk. Like I said, if he wanted to get protests going and he wanted things like that to happen, he should have done it properly. He should have met with the people who were going to protest, and he should have held meetings and set limitations and whatever for the protest. What you can't do is hide behind the TV screen and just incite hundreds and hundreds of fans and get away with it. You can't do it.
He should have been taken off air on Sunday, him and Carragher. He should have shut the camera down and videoing them. Everything Ian's just said is spot on. They've got a billionaire owner at Salford. They wouldn't get through financial fair play if it was thrown at them. He's the biggest type of hypocrite. His rivalry with Liverpool Football Club as a player has crossed over into the studio, and he's blurred the line massively. And exactly what Ian said. All he did on Sunday was incite trouble. The moment somebody got hurt or something got damaged, you've got to pull him off, get him out of the way of the camera. He thinks he's being clever. He thinks he's like the saviour of football. He's got a deal where he's trying to make himself money to be in a box seat at Sky. So he is big news for them because he's got a big mouth and he used it on Sunday. He should have been taken off. They should have taken the camera away from him because all he did was make massive points.
But what upsets me is that the character is kind of jumping on the same bandwagon and continuing everything and agreeing with everything Harry is saying. Because he is from Liverpool, so he should be standing up for Liverpool, which has no doubt, like, it looked like he wasn't doing. So that's upsetting a bit as well. But going back to the actual game.
Can I talk about Gary Neville? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
I was going to say, he seems to have a very weird obsession for Liverpool. He brings Liverpool in when it has nothing to do with it. And it's almost like, I'm not sure what the point he's trying to make. Like, he seems to hate Liverpool. He's got a hatred for them. He could just focus on his own club if that's what he wants to say. But he has a drink when we lose to Watford, when we won all the games all season last year. So his hatred doesn't make any sense, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. It does boil my blood. That's why I have him muted on Twitter. I don't see his tweets anymore. Like, every time we lose. Yeah, even in last season when we lost 2 games, he was so happy. So I think he is taking it a bit too far. If he wants to be a pundit, he needs to be a bit more objective. Like, he can still have his favorite team, and it's fine, it makes sense. But I think you still need to be at least a bit objective about everything. Going back to the game, do you think that this affected players' rhythm a lot, Matt?
Yeah, it's going to affect. Did you say it's going to affect the players' rhythm? Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because now, obviously, us not playing, obviously on Sunday now means also we don't play again until Saturday. I think it's against is it Southampton, right? Yeah, that's going to affect us massively because players. Listen, we're at the business end of the season. We're not having a great season. In fact, we're having a bad season. We know this, and it's one of those things where we kind of just want the season to end, but at the same time, we want to finish as strong as possible. Players need to be at the sharpest of their game, and the only way they can do that is by playing. You can't really replicate that same intensity in training. You can't. So it's really unfair to us that we've had to miss out, and we've got crucial games coming up. So it's a big hit for Klopp as well as it is for the players. And we can only hope that we can bounce back and put in a performance on Saturday. I say bounce back, but that's because we didn't do anything. The players didn't get a chance to express themselves. We're not getting great results. That's something I hope happens and changes on Saturday. So,
yeah. What do you think, James?
For overall conclusion or about?
player rhythm, what do you think? Has it been broken? Do you agree with Matt?
Yeah, definitely, I agree. I think it's going to have a massive mental effect on the players because I think they were psyched up, they were ready, they travelled to Manchester, and they obviously didn't get to play what is probably one of the biggest rivalries in English football. So now Jurgen has to build the troops up, focus on Southampton, and try and get all 3 points there.
Yeah, I agree. But even though it didn't feel like such a big game this time around because of all the ESL talk, like it just felt like any other game. I totally agree. I think it broke down our rhythm. And I don't know, like how players saw it, but it must have been scary if they because until like 3 or half 3, they were saying that the game is gonna go ahead. So they were thinking that they're gonna have to go with their best throughout the quite crazy crowd. So it must have been scary. Matt, you wanted to say something?
No, do you know what? The echoes, but I couldn't hear anything. Sorry, I couldn't really. Yeah, there's a bit of echo. I couldn't hear anything there.
Yeah.
Can you not hear me clearly? Can you not hear me clearly?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, I can hear. No, because for some reason I can hear bad echo. I don't know if it's me.
Yeah, there is some playback. I'm not sure.
Are you guys getting feedback, or is it just me?
I think if you're not talking, you hit your mute button, it'll stop that silly noise that StreamYard makes occasionally. So.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect. Okay, maybe let's move on a bit from the Sunday, what happened on Sunday, and just to go into next. What is it? 5 games. So West Ham, Chelsea, and Spurs won over the weekend. So, Stay, what do you think about our top 4 chances now? Then
I don't think top fours is something that's going to happen for us. I think, unfortunately, Leicester have run into a little bit of form and we didn't need them to. Picking up results, okay, they got a draw at the weekend, but we need to win all of our games realistically to end up in 4th place. We have to win all of our remaining games and hope that. I think if we lost on Saturday and Chelsea had won, they would have been 7 points in front of us with 3 games to go. So you're looking for a collapse from Chelsea they've not shown us all season. So I personally just want the season to be over so we can draw a line underneath it and say absolute madness. That was never something that we could have planned for. It'll never happen again, that level of injuries to anybody, never mind us. Whatever position we're in, we'll still sign players. That won't be an issue because players are not daft. They can see what's happened at Liverpool this season. They can see that when you take the 2 most experienced centre-halves out and one of the best footballers in the world in Virgil van Dijk, your transition's gone, your shape's gone, your system's gone, nothing works, and you played off-the-cuff football. Those people that we're allegedly linked with will know this. They'll see this. They'll have had conversations with their agents about this. A move to Liverpool is still a very, very tantalising proposition. Let's not get that wrong. We will come again. I do believe if everybody was fit, we'd be challenging Manchester City. We do need to freshen it up a little bit. I don't really want Ronaldo to leave. I'm not one of these people that thinks he's a ghost. Don't accept that. But for the good of the team, it might be the right time to freshen up somebody in the midfield in terms of something a little bit different because we're a bit samey. And as good as Thiago is, our system isn't set up for Thiago to show us what he's capable of. It certainly isn't at the moment. So my opinion would be get the season out of the way, get it a line drawn underneath it, forget about it, don't dwell on it, let the rest of Twitter do that. We don't need to. Get our house in order, get our players fit and see where we are next season. And I think we'll be pleasantly surprised with hopefully Basuma. Basuma would be a great signing for us if we can get that one over the line. And then we see what else we do and potentially who we can shift because I don't want to see Divock Origi in a Liverpool shirt again. The guy has lost his willingness to run, has lost his efforts, lost his energy, and it doesn't mean anything to him. So fair play to him. He's got some goals that make him a bit of a cult hero. But let's move him on and look to refresh because I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. I agree about Origi. I think, unfortunately, he is finished here regarding top 4. I think if we would have, for example, Gomez or Matip fit, we would have run away with it in December. I have a feeling. Like I had a feeling about it after the Spurs game, which we lost in injury time when Bobby scored. I thought we got this, like we're going away with it. But obviously it didn't work out like that. But yeah, James, what do you think about top four?
I think top four. I think it's off. Chelsea are too far ahead, 7 points ahead. West Ham are playing better than us, and I think that doesn't help actually having that game in hand. I think that actually works against us psychologically. For someone like Manchester City, they gobble up those game in hands and they win them all. But Liverpool, from what I've seen over the years, they don't do that. So I'm not very optimistic that we can win all 5 matches. I think even 5th or 6th will be an achievement in that sense. I think the main thing for me is I think they need a huge. I've been quite vocal about this. I think they need a massive clear out. I think they should get rid of Naby Keita. I think they should get rid of Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think they should get rid of Origi and Shaqiri. I think that they need to. Those players are literally not players that would walk into the Man City team or Chelsea team or Man United team. Personally, there are lots of players out there. There are lots of good players out there. Daniel Marlin. There's I'm forgetting his name, Daka, for Salzburg. Like, we need someone out there that's going to bang 20 goals, 25 goals. And I think Jamie Carragher has a point. I personally would like to see Mane and Firmino stay because I think they've kind of had burnout over the last year or two. And I think they've still got something to give. But I don't like the fact that in midfield, Coutinho's never been replaced. We never get enough goals from midfield. And I don't like the fact that Wijnaldum is an attacking player and he plays in a very defensive way. Puts Milner in the middle all the time and he's 35 years old. There just needs to be some more energy in the middle of the park, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think we definitely need attacking midfielder. I think it should be one of our top priorities this summer with, I think, our centre-back line. If Konate is coming in, and we're probably signing Kabak, so it should be fine. I think we still need a forward as well, but I'll go to Matt and let him talk about Naby Keita and top 4.
Right, let me start off by saying this. Okay, let me start off with top 4 first. No, you're right, bro. Top 4 is done. Like, it's done. And the thing is, it hurts because, as you said, every single time we've been given an opportunity, we haven't taken it. Like, I think even when Chelsea lost to West Brom, when West Ham lost to Newcastle, we didn't take the chance. And that's the thing. It's getting frustrating because every time we kind of sit there and think, if this team loses and we win our games, we get a chance. We never do it. It's like, no matter how many lifelines we're given, we don't take it. That's been one of the most frustrating things that's been happening to us this season. So yeah, I agree with you, bro. Top 4, we ain't getting it. It's too far out of our reach, and it's a shame because, you know, I feel like under Klopp, like, we deserve that Champions League football. We've worked hard to get back there. You know, our players have just gotten better and better. But this season, for me, is an anomaly. And yeah, we just wipe this one off the table and we go clean slate next season. Now, onto the player recruitment or player departures that you was talking about. So, Naby Keita. I'm a big fan of Naby Keita. But I will say this, though. This season, I'm starting to realise more the frustrations what everyone has of him. If you're not fit, people get frustrated. It's like, if you're not fit, then what's the point? The thing is, though, I still feel like he offers something very different to what our other midfielders do have. The only problem is we haven't seen it enough. So one thing I will say is I would like to keep Naby, but at the same time, if a good offer does arrive, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, no, we're making a mistake. I will say that. Divock Origi, I've been very vocal with that. I do feel like his time has passed as well, Divock Origi. The problem is, though, is the reinforcements. Now, I know some people do like Daka. From what I'm not a fan, I have to say, I'm not a fan of Daka. And maybe it's because, I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it as the league is playing in and some of the goals that he's scoring. Would you get that time in the Premier League? Are you going to bury those chances? Because I don't even think he's an amazing goal scorer. I just think he's good in his league, but it remains to be seen what can be done. And I know some people say that's Haaland, but I kind of feel that Haaland was also doing it in Champions League as well for Salzburg, whereas Daka hasn't. So I don't even know if he's the answer. Then you've got Malin. Malin, I think, is good. Good feet. He's fast, strong. But again, I wouldn't say he's clinical. And for Liverpool, we're missing that clinical striker. The last time we had a clinical striker at the club was arguably Daniel Sturridge. It's just unfortunate, again, it was injuries. But we just don't have anyone Like even Salah, I love Salah. Salah's one of my favorite players. But sometimes I do look at it and think, do you know what? If we had a Harry Kane, oh my days, could you imagine the chances that we'll be burying? And I think it's going to be hard to get that caliber of player. But I think Liverpool, they have to really do their research and hopefully get that goal scorer. If not, I'm worried we might pick up that wrong person and they might not take us to that next level. Because this is what we were talking about. We've got Salah, we've got Mane, we've got Bobby, we've got Jota. Can we get someone that's going to take us to the next level? If not, do we strengthen somewhere else? That's the question to you. I don't know.
That's it. Can I answer that? Because that's really some good points there, mate. Thanks for that. First of all, Daniel Mallon's agent is Viola. So anyone who signs in has got to pay stupid money to agents as well, which will make him difficult to sign. Daka has agreed a deal to go to Leipzig, the usual Salzburg, Leipzig, and then on to somebody else scenario. So he's more than likely off the radar. I completely agree with you in terms of taking it to the next level. The player we've got in our club that's the most saleable asset at the moment in the front three would be Salah because of his form, because he's scoring goals again, and he's sort of agitating for a new contract. I know that because I spoke to a Liverpool journalist on a pod at Christmas. He was agitating for a new contract. He doesn't talk to anybody, yet he's spoken to Marca, the Spanish newspaper, twice because he's playing a tactical game to get a contract. If someone offers you £140 million for Mo Salah at 29, I think the club's got to look at that, and they will look at that, and I think Mo Salah will look at that. I hope it doesn't happen because his numbers are silly. And if he was a natural finisher, like you say, we'd be getting messy numbers from him. But the fact of the matter is, he isn't a natural finisher. The chance he misses in the first couple of minutes against Real Madrid is unforgivable. That one where he just drills the ball at Courtois in the second leg. That goes in, the floodgates open, and we're still in the Champions League. He's capable of the ridiculous in terms of the goals he scores, the long distance drive against Chelsea into the far top corner. Even the goal, his last goal, the snapshot recently, is also capable of the ridiculous in terms of the chances he misses. He could be clean through against the goalkeeper and not hit the target. If we'd had Haaland against Newcastle, we'd have won that game 7-1 or 7-0 because they'd never have got the tails up to get into the game. So if we do sign, and I think we will sign somebody, we've got to go, as you quite rightly pointed out, with someone who's an established striker with a pedigree. Daka is all about what he might be sometime in the future. The boy is lightning quick, but doesn't mean he can finish. Daniel Mallon is also quick, can finish, but LFC is no measurement of a goal scorer. If Bodu plays alongside him, there's another name that keeps coming up, another quick player that is doing well in the Dutch league. But where do we go, guys? We have to check. We can't change our shape. And the reason for that is we've got Euro Championship coming up, Euro finals. You just don't have the time on the pitch with the guys when they're away on international duty to change your shape. So we might see more of the system that we've been seeing. For me, I think Bobby's legs are done. I think we've reached in and ripped the guy's soul out. He's given us so much for 4 years. I just don't see any intensity in his game. His passes have got no pace on them. His movement to the ball is slow. I'm a massive Bobby fan, but I was a massive Kenny Dalglish fan and a massive Graham Souness fan and a massive Torres fan. And there comes a time in their careers where you have to move them on. You have to. And I think we might be getting close to that with Bobby. So you're quite right. Some really good points there, mate. Thank you for those. I genuinely think that our recruitment this summer is huge. But there won't be a fire sale where we sell 8 players because this is a COVID transfer window. Nobody's going to give you 40 grand a week to Joe Matip, who's made a Quavers, who can play 1 week and then out for a month. That just isn't going to happen. So there'll be some players that we want to see gone that will still be at the club. And there will be some players, like apparently Shaq has asked for his agent to find him a club. And I think that's best for him because he's a nice lad and he's done nothing wrong and he needs to play football. So it depends. It really, really depends on how advanced they are. We'll have a plan in place already. We won't wait till the transfer window and then we'll be speaking to people. The Mbappe link doesn't go away. As romantic as that sounds, he's a Nike athlete. He's a marketing tool. That's what he is. He's an absolute marketing tool. Comes to Liverpool, 4 seasons at Liverpool, then Real Madrid pay £300 million for him. That is the most FSG thing in the world to do, by the way. So that link won't go away. It's pretty strong as well. So sorry to steal your show, Zane, but those points needed sort of a response, and they were really cool and they were good comments. So I don't need to jump in.
Can I say there's a few other names that I think are worth mentioning? Ollie Watkins, Liverpool. I think Jurgen Klopp's a big fan of his. Me personally, I won't go for him, but he's been mentioned. And Memphis Depay is on a free transfer, so there's that. And Ivan Toney, I think Leicester are after him for Brentford, and also Everton. So he's scored a lot of goals this year in the Championship.
Can I just quickly say, do you know, I agree with all the points you said, mate. And some of the players as well that you just said, I'm like, maybe. Here's the big question. This is what I think we should do. Obviously, we probably don't have the finances, but I'm thinking, is there a way we could do it? I genuinely think, Liverpool can take it to the next level. Let's say that we can't even get Mbappe, but I agree with you, bro. If we could get Mbappe, that would be amazing. And it is an FSG thing to do as well, in terms of we get him, and then 4 or 5 years down the line, he goes Real Madrid. Because I could see that. I wouldn't see, if we was to buy Mbappe in the summer, dare I say, I don't think he signs forever. Like, he would eventually go Real Madrid. The player who I do think we could get, if we actually had the money or done some serious business, is Harry Kane. I will say it again. Like, you see Harry Kane?
Harry, yes.
Harry Kane in Liverpool's lineup can do what Firmino does, do the false nine, but not only that, he's just a natural goal scorer. Could you imagine? Remember, what Kane is doing at Spurs is normally he's got one man with him, and that's Son. They've got like that bromance, that partnership. Coming to Liverpool, he'll have 3 of those. He'll have Mane, he'll have Salah, and he'll have Jota. Dare I say it, even Firmino. Could you imagine that? Just for 1 second, Harry Kane. Could you imagine Harry Kane going, yeah, mate, obviously, I had to come to Anfield. Obviously, Jurgen spoke to me. And it is what it is, really. I play with Mane, I play with Salah, I play with Jota. I'll get you about 35 a season. Shout out Dele Alli. I love you, bro, but Liverpool's just bigger. Could you imagine Harry Kane at Liverpool? I'm sorry. I'm putting it there now. Like, I'm just saying. Just saying, people. I'm just saying.
I would take Son at Liverpool. I think Son would be amazing. He'd be good.
I would take Son, but I'm just saying, if we could get
clinical though, as Kane is.
Harry Kane would be the second Liverpool player that we've had in a Liverpool shirt that I can't stand the sight of after El Hadj Diouf.
Oh, no.
Harry Kane this season been endangering fellow pros by tackling challenges. He left a shoulder on the side of the guy's head at Arsenal, and then he dove in and won a penalty after letting the ball run off in a completely different. I don't want that kind of player at my football club. I can't stand the sight of him. I can't take to him.
However, you're going to say however, though, right? I can see your. Yes, yeah.
But the chances we create to get to 50 goals a season, absolutely 100%. But there is a caveat to that. He's dropped into the 10 role for Spurs because they don't trust him to run the line anymore because he picks up too many injuries. So he would be a like-for-like exchange for Bobby Firmino.
Yeah.
And he would be an upgrade on Bobby Firmino on current form, 100%. I just can't take to the man. I'd have a problem seeing him at my club because of the way he conducts himself on the pitch. I think he's disgusting. And he's not going to be long before he seriously injures somebody's spine with this thing he does when they're jumping up to win the ball. And I've got a big problem with the way he behaves in that regard. So not good for me.
Fair enough.
I agree on that regard, yeah, but I think
he's very injury prone though. So injury prone.
Sorry,
I was just going to say he's very injury prone, and we seem to have a bad habit of buying injury prone players. So I really hope we don't buy any more injury prone players. And Konate was out for 3 months, so I know he's got amazing ability, one of the best young players in the world, but I don't really want to buy someone who's going to be out for 3 more months. We've got another centre-back crisis.
Yeah, but you never know. You can't just say, oh, you had injury, and most of his injury record is not correct anyways because it includes a lot of breaks. So you can't just say, oh, you had this injury. It doesn't mean that he's going to be like that because he's still young. He's still developing. I think as much hate as our fitness department gets, I think now what they've done with Naby Keita, I think that's the way they're going to move forward. So if we get Konate, he's probably going to do that as well. So, but we'll see. Maybe will sign someone else, and all this Konate talk is just a disguise. You never know.
3 names I'll say to you guys. This would be my number 1, Kylian Mbappe. Number 2 probably would be Haaland or Kane. I'm just saying, for me, Mbappe's the dream, but I still think he's going Real Madrid. He's the dream for me, but that's why I'm saying Kane. I'm trying to be more realistic. I think Kane is probably the cheaper out of the 3. Maybe. Actually, Haaland's clause comes into effect. Is it next summer, is it?
Next summer.
So realistically, Kane is probably the cheapest then right now. Haaland's the dream though. Sorry, Haaland. Mbappe's the dream though. Mbappe's the guy, as you said. Mbappe, for me, he's that generational talent that I think for years to come, he will be up there as one of the best. As you said, Kane kind of has got a shelf life to a degree because of the injuries that he does pick up. And you're right, he does do some dirty stuff. I've said it many a times on Twitter, so I can't even deny it and say that. But I'm just saying, from a footballing perspective, in terms of what we need, we just need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. And he is someone that we should at least explore if you can't get Mbappe or Haaland, in my opinion, anyway.
Well, I can't disagree. I think Haaland, his dad wants 20 million, Raiola wants 20 million, and they want to pay him. They want to make him the highest paid footballer in history. So Rayola's just using him to self-fund his own agents' fees. So I think Haaland would be difficult. I think Haaland would be difficult for Manchester City because Raiola cannot stand Pep Guardiola at all. They do not get on. They don't see eye to eye, whatever. So there's an issue. I think Haaland will end up in Spain. I think Barcelona are trying to take him. And this idea that these Spanish clubs are bankrupt, they're not. They always find a way to turn the corner and get money. They've always done it. Sell a training ground, revamp it, rent it back for like £1 a week. It's insane what they do to cover their bases in terms of money. But I think Haaland will go to the biggest bidder, and that won't be us. I don't think it'll be Manchester City. It's possible he could end up at Chelsea, which would be a worry because Chelsea do create chances. You just don't have anyone to take them. Mbappe, it's all about Mbappe, isn't it? If Mbappe comes back, I'm spending the whole summer with a stupid smile on my face from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed, because that would be the biggest iconic signing Liverpool Football Club has ever made by some distance. And it's not beyond the realms of possibility. I think the Nike deal is massive in terms of increasing his image rights, because we're not going to pay him 600 grand a week, because the moment we do that, there's a line of players outside the manager's door and they all want the same money. So with Mbappe, it'll be about Nike twisting his image rights to give him another 15-20%, because we sell more shirts than PSG ever would. So the revenue for Nike goes through the roof, and they can play with the numbers and they can support him. And he's a Nike athlete. And LeBron James is a shareholder, and he's a Nike athlete, and they're best pals. So that one's got legs. I think it's got a bit of legs. There's a bit of work to do on that one yet. But I don't think he would be put off by not playing in the Champions League. He's 22 years old. He's got 13 years of Champions League seasons ahead of him. So, I just, as good as he is, mate, I just don't want Harry Kane at the club. I just can't take to the man.
I would get Jadon Sancho instead of Harry Kane because he's younger, he's faster. I think he could create a lot of goal-scoring opportunities for us if he becomes, affordable. But I'm guessing that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, no, I would take Jadon Sancho. I just think because we need a striker, I would want Sancho. Maybe I'm being greedy here, but I would want Sancho as well as a striker, because I think our problem is not creating. Our problem is scoring. And I think if you get I'd like to call him Kylian Mbappe, Haaland or Kane, they just guarantee you goals. But I'm with you, mate. I want Mbappe. For me, he's the dream. I've said this already. He's the dream. I just think in terms of realism, though, I know you might not want to hear it. It probably would be Kane, which again is however you want to see it. Really, it's however you want to see it. I get it. He's not like that Liverpool way. I get it. I do. But I just think sometimes, I don't know, he might win you over. Who knows? I don't know. Ain't gonna happen. I'm just saying that.
That's an interesting point. That's an interesting comment. Could you play Salah through the middle and Sancho on the right? Again, I don't think Salah's prolific enough to play through the centre on his own, personally speaking.
We just need the proper 9. We need. That's what we struggle with. I think the focus should be on that.
I think another interesting question is who's going to replace Gini Wijnaldum in the midfield. I think Yves Bissouma will be a fantastic addition, but it looks like Arsenal have stolen the march on Liverpool on that front, and I think Florian Neuhaus as well, very good German player. Those two are possibilities. I'm not sure what you guys think.
I think Basuma is more likely than Nahal, to be honest with you. Apparently, we've already sent a bit of a deal down the lines to Brighton, so we'll look at that. That's what everybody on Twitter who seems to know what's going on in the world, or would like to think so, is saying. He dominated our midfield when he came to Anfield. He absolutely stopped us playing, and he was paramount to what they did. He would be a great addition because he's very young and he's got lots of the attributes you want in the centre midfield. The likes of Neuhaus and Rodrigo de Paul. What do they give you defensively off the ball? Not sure. De Paul is not young. He's about 27, 28. Having a great season, creating lots of assists. If we were to replace a Coutinho type character, then yes, that's an option. But I don't see us playing with another player. Because when Coutinho played, it was a luxury. People ran off him. He didn't track people. He very often got overloaded down the opponent's right-hand side and left Alberto Moreno, who had his defensive frailties anyway, to deal with two or three players. So I don't think we changed system, and I think we changed like for like. So for me, Basuma would be a shoo-in, absolutely.
I agree. I would want to see him playing for Liverpool as well. I think he would be the perfect replacement if Gini goes. Most likely he is going, so that would be perfect. So before we finish, we do have a game this week against Southampton. So just wanted to ask you, what do you think the game's gonna go? What's the score gonna be? What do you feel like? Because last time we had this dramatic 1-0 loss with Hasenhüttl falling on the ground, crying, and haven't been able to win anything since. So, what do you think, James? How is it gonna go?
Good question. I think Liverpool will edge it. I think that they'll win 2-1. I'm going to say that we won't score in the first half, and that trend will continue. And I'm going to say that we will pick up in the second half and the 3 points. But it's always a difficult match against Southampton.
Who do you think is going to score then?
I'm going to say Salah, and I think maybe one extra prize goal scorer for the other goal. Maybe Curtis Jones if he starts.
Okay, Matt, what do you think?
Tough game against Southampton. However, I do think we will get the win. I think Salah scores. I think Salah does score. And I think the other goal scorer, I think, will be Jota. So I'm going to be Jota or Mane. And Naby Keita to get an assist. Just putting it out there.
So you think he will start? Or
I think he might start. I think Naby Keita actually might start a game, and we actually might see that he's not as bad as some people think he was against Real. Well, he was bad against Real Madrid, but I think some people have gone overboard and just gone, that was the last time we saw Naby Keita. I said, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. People forget he's still a good player. It's not about how good he is, it's about him getting on the pitch. But hopefully Klopp plays him, but I don't know. But I think if he does play, Naby Keita, I think, does something to get a couple of fans back on side, in my opinion.
So what will be your midfield then?
My midfield would be Thiago, Milner. Actually, no. Thiago, Wijnaldum, and Naby to start. I'd actually bring Wijnaldum back in over James Milner.
Where's Fab?
Where's he, sorry?
Fabinho.
No, but we're going on the premise of Fabinho's probably playing in defence next to Kabak. Oh, no, Nat Phillips. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, good point. All right, then. Fabinho, Naby, and Thiago. The midfield that I'm waiting to see. I want to see that midfield. I've been saying it all season. This midfield right there needs to play one game. We probably won't even see it, but yeah, that midfield there, spot on down there, spot on.
Yes, I agree. I want to see them play as well. I think that would be amazing. Maybe it wouldn't, but I think that would be really good. Stay, what do you think about the game? How do you think it's gonna go?
I think Sarah will get a couple. I think we'll win. I think Southampton are very hit and miss, more miss than hit these days. I think we'll get a result. I'd like to see us. I'd like to see us try Naby again, but he was so bad against Real Madrid. Klopp doesn't pull players off in the first half unless they're really not doing what he's asked them to do, which clearly he wasn't. The worst thing Klopp could have done was come out and told the press that Naby Keita's a superstar. He's pulling up trees in training, and I can't ignore him because he went on the pitch with a big fat cigar. I've done it. I've achieved it. My boss has been on the telly and said I'm great, and then he decided to do nothing with regards to the game plan. By the time we took him off, Real Madrid had taken over that game, and we were never going to get back into it. We were in complete control now. I want to see the Naby that was at Leipzig, picked the ball up and drove at people, similarly to what Ox did prior to his injury in the Champions League, where he's asking questions of people, where he's driving at people, saying, I can go off either hip, which way do you think I'm going to go? Because that's what he's got. He's got brilliant balance. And his first touch of the ball is to change the shape of the ball so he can change the shape of his run. And it's really, really difficult to play against somebody who's got that. There's not many that have. So I'd like him to prove me wrong. I do feel Naby may have played his last game for Liverpool, but I wouldn't be disappointed to see him get another opportunity because somewhere in the last 3 years, that player that we signed is there somewhere. And it sounds a bit mad to be 5 games before the end of the season to suddenly find it, but I don't like the idea of giving up on him completely. I think Curtis Jones might play at the weekend, personally speaking, with Fabinho and with Thiago. But I think Thiago might be nursing a knock, hence the reason why he's been drifting in and out of games and start coming off the bench and then get taken off for 15 minutes to go against Newcastle was madness because Newcastle just stepped up and he was controlling the game all by himself. That's what he can do. So I'd like to see that midfield you just said with Naby and Thiago given license to do a bit more in the final third rather than sit in and be recyclers like we've been doing for the last 3 years. But I think we'll win. I don't think missing the game at the weekend does too much damage because we prepare game to game anyway. He doesn't look into the future of the fixtures. He looks at the next forthcoming game. So if anything, this might assist with our fatigue a little bit because we're not training in the way that we would want to. We can't put sessions in that we're used to doing to try to protect the players. So hopefully those that were nursing a bit of fatigue and a few knocks will come out the other side of it and we'll be flying come the Southampton game.
Okay, perfect. I think Naby Keita will get his chance. Klopp is very loyal to his players, so he won't allow Naby Keita to have his last game like that, even if he goes in the summer, which I don't think he will. But if that happens, I think he will give Naby a chance because he just is that way. Like he gives players chance when they've been doing well in training sessions. So, so thank you very much, guys. Maybe just quickly tell everyone where they can find you on social media. And James, I'll start with you.
Yes, so you can find me on Twitter, jspencer28. We've also got our own football podcast as well, Football Lab, and we had an episode last night because of the social media blackout. We didn't post that video last night, so we're going to post that tonight. And just thanks for having me on Red Sky.
Bye bye.
Matt, can everyone find you?
Yeah, so you can catch me on Twitter at Matt_Coppish, also on Instagram as well, Matt_Coppish. And obviously, if you don't know already, you can catch me on YouTube on Team Coppish YouTube channel. And again, thank you for having me as well. It's been a pleasure. And one thing I just want to say as well, on a bit of a so-called bad note, I've been noticing recently people have been getting a lot of online abuse. So it's happened to a lot of people that I know, especially even yourself, Zane. And I just want to say this to anyone that's watching. If you disagree with somebody about football, there's a way to go about it. There's no need to be disrespectful to people. Do you know what I mean? Like have like, you don't know how someone's feeling, you don't know how someone's going to react. I get it, but it's just the way how to go about things, isn't it? Like, it's a football. It's, you know what I mean? It's not life and death. Do you know what I'm saying? So people just need to show some respect, man, because I've seen some nasty things over the last couple of days, even to one of my colleagues as well, getting some horrible online abuse. And I just want to say this, yeah, there's no need for it. It needs to stop, man. We got to stop all this rubbish, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all have a right to an opinion. And if you don't like it, don't watch us. Or if not, don't follow us. Or you can respectfully say, I don't agree. No need for people being disrespectful, sexist, or racist. I just wanted to say that and put that out there.
I'll go one step further on that one, Matt. Anyone that disagrees with the things we've spoken around, drop me a DM. We'll set up a pod and we can come and talk about it like adults. That's fine. Opinions vary. I'm quite happy to have a debate with anybody about anything. I'm cool with that, and I'll respect your opinion, and we'll share our thoughts. Have we not learnt anything over the weekend with the blackout? Clearly not. I've seen some things, like you said, Matt, that are absolutely disgusting. So if you want to interact with Red Sky, we take on everything you say in the spirit it's intended. If you want to be an abuser and show hate, then do me a favour, click the unfollow button and don't message me, because I'm not interested. We get people like Zane, Matt, and sorry, I can't see your name. The guy in the bottom corner, my apologies. Put on here in your own free time for nothing. For nothing. You don't get paid for it. Do it because you love the football club. I suggest you all do the same. And in the meantime, if you want to get hold of me, I'm available via Red Sky. I'm also on Football Heritage on a Wednesday night, and Coping Mechanism with Bits and Bobs on a Thursday night, which is absolutely nuts. If you've had a bad day and you want to have a laugh, then you need to check in, because that is insane, that show. So everybody who watches this, come and join us on the panel. It's an open invitation for you to say, I want to get involved. Put your hand up, come and say your piece. I see the same name sending message after message after message on the board. Come and sit in front of your smartphone. That's all you need. I'll send you a link and we'll have a chat about football. It's all good. We're a podcast community. Let's grow it. Let's grow it and support each other.
Exactly. And once again, go follow Matt, go follow the Copish, follow Red Sky Pods, follow James, follow Zane. And yeah, let's just create a community. Just remember, it's not hard to be now. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone, and let's hope we win.
Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Chill out.